know you were here. I think I'll write in my ARC's activity journal now. I like to write down things like what enemies I fought today, or minerals I found. I keep track of my daily activities. I originally started by copying Manon after she showed me her journal a while back. But her journal is like super detailed. She keeps records of things like enemy weak points and behaviors, where she found which mineral, what it does, stuff like that. I take a look at it once in a while, and it's really helpful. She's a really good teacher, too. Hey, that's not very nice. I know it might be hard to believe, but I'm doing my best, okay? I mean, no one ever taught me how to be an ARC's defender when I was in Alio Town. I think I mentioned it before, but my dad was always telling me I was still too young. But ever since Manon showed up, she's taught me so many things. I mean, all I've really been doing is following her around, but I've learned stuff like how to fight and which fruits and vegetables are safe to eat. Everything I know about being an ARC's defender, I learned from her. That's why I think of her as my professor, as far as being an ARC's defender, at least. But she's also someone I can count on, almost like a big sister. So that's why it's so important for me to do the best I can to pull my own weight. And thank you, too. Well, I better get going now. See you later! A professor? Yeah, I guess you could say Manon's my professor. What are you doing here? Oh, okay. I come here once in a while. I give my dad updates about what's going on. Like, hey, this is what I did the other day. Or, hey, I'm thinking about doing this or that. Talking to him like that while I clean up the monument really helps calm me down. And it also brings back memories. I remember this one time I was practicing gliding by myself, and I got stuck in this really tall tree. Or another time I was hunting tames, and I got completely lost. My dad would always come flying to bail me out with this super angry look on his face. And then he would take me aside and tell me not to do that kind of thing. The people of the town would always stick up for me when my dad got like that. They'd all try to comfort me and then go get in my dad's face for me and stuff. I used to hate it because I really didn't want any kind of special treatment. But looking back, now I understand they were all just doing that because they really cared about me. And now they're all gone. It hurts. I'm okay. They laid down their lives for us. There's no way I can let them down. Well, time to give my dad an update. Wanna do it with me? Wow, that means a lot to me. I visit too, once in a while. Yeah, I'm fine. There's still so much I have to accomplish. I can't just give up now. Huh? Hey, what are you doing here? I was here gathering fruits and vegetables, and I can't believe this pot is still here. Apparently the parts are valuable, so they get salvaged pretty fast. I guess this is where everything got started. I still remember that day. It wasn't even that long ago, but it feels like it's been forever. You dropped down from the sky in this pod. Then Dark Falls attacked, and Aliotown was... I've wondered so many times since then. What would I have thought of the person I am now? There have been some really hard times, but I've made lots of good memories too. I've had so many adventures with you and Manon. I also like to think I'm a better Arcs defender now. I'm sure my dad would set me straight on that if he was here. But I just know I'll get to where I need to be if I keep pushing myself and never, ever give up. I just know it. So, thank you. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without you and Manon. It's a little embarrassing saying it like this, but I've been wanting to express my gratitude for a while. Here's to more adventures. Me neither. Oh, hey! I didn't know you were here. Just taking a little break. You too? Sometimes, I just like to sit here and people watch. It's so nice to see people chatting with friends and kids running around playing. Just sitting here and taking it all in fills me with this wonderful sense of peace. I really love Central City. It's great. When I was living in Aliotown, I never had much reason to come here. Maybe it was because I was still a little girl, but Central always seemed like such a big and scary place. Now, I really love it here. I love all the operators, all the shopkeepers, the supply unit, the maintenance crew, all the researchers, all the kids, and the people who teach all the kids. I've never seen it, but I've heard there are people in an underground factory who make all the food and weapons. It takes all of these people to make this city work. So, I need to make sure I do my part for all the people who live in this city, too. As an Arcs defender. Before, I was the one being protected, but now it's my turn to be the protector. Oh, really? Wow, that means a lot coming from you. Well, looks like break time is over. I better get going. There are still so many things I need to do. Gotta keep moving. See you later! Yep, I just got back here a minute ago. Sounds good. We can do this. Oh, it's you. You startled me. I was just in Wrestle Forest, but I'm having a hard time by myself. Not only are the enemies tough, but they come from out of nowhere. And it's really scary. I mean, I'm not used to it yet. But I definitely think I've gotten better at fighting since the first time I was there. I remember how nervous I was. It was all I could do just to follow you two. I don't even remember the path we took that day. But I grew a lot from that experience, so I'm really glad I did it. I can't thank you and Manon enough. I know. Thank you so much. When I heard that Nex Alio had appeared, and Dozer had gone missing, all I knew was that I had to volunteer to help. I wasn't even thinking about enemies or what kind of place Rezel Forest might be. When both of you agreed to let me join, it made me feel like I could handle it. I felt like just as long as we were together, I didn't need to be afraid of any enemy. My dad used to always get so mad at me and say, "You always act without thinking." But he also used to say that it was better than overthinking things and doing nothing. I think that's probably just how I am. Hey, will you promise to stop me if I'm ever about to do something really dumb? If I know you and Manon are there to put the brakes on me, then I'll be free to go full speed ahead. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad I have you around to help me. Thank you. Ugh, you sound just like my dad. But I know it's because you care. Thank you. I know, I'm asking just in case. Because sometimes I focus too much on what's right in front of me. Oh, hey you! Perfect timing. Can we talk? What do you think of the people of Ritem? Of course! Me too! When we first got here, I thought all of them were really super scary. Fighting is part of life for them, so they give off this total "only the strong survive" vibe. Or like they really believe that might makes right. Remember how uptight they were when we got here and Renus Ritem attacked? They acted like they couldn't be bothered with some outsiders like us. But after getting to know them, I know that's not how they really are. When I made the effort, I found out that they're really kind. They even showed me how to survive in the desert. They told me all about which enemies I should be aware of, where to find food, and all kinds of other really helpful advice. A lot of them also asked me about Alio. They haven't interacted with the outside world much, but they are interested in it. It's just that they've been so busy fighting that they didn't have time for much else. And even their strongest fighters never brag. They look out for each other, protect the weak, and help those in need. Oh, and they also talked about Nadereh a lot. I could really tell that they were doing everything they could to support her. Not only do they respect her, but they completely trust her to lead them. I can really feel how united all the people of Ritem City are. When I stopped to think, it made me realize that the people of Alio Town are the same. I almost feel like I found my new hometown. Which means I need to do my part to be a contributing member of Ritem Arcs too. I know I can do it! Well, they're good people once you get to know them. Oh, is that you? Were you listening just now? Nope. Singing practice. I'm shy, so I like to practice here by myself. Nadereh's singing was so beautiful. She's such a good fighter and a good singer, It's no fair. Hadi and the others were amazing too. Yeah, I thought it might be fun to sing along with everyone. Lately, I've been talking with Nadereh often, and singing comes up a lot. When it comes to singing, she takes her practice just as seriously as her combat training. She's always trying to figure out how to best convey her emotions through her songs. Even though she lost the power of song and didn't sing publicly for a while, she told me she was still practicing the whole time. She is a really hard worker. I think that's exactly why everyone is so supportive of her. Manon said she didn't think that Nadereh's singing would have any effect on us. But I feel like I can do anything when I hear her sing. Now that I think of it, we all used to sing in Town too. We used to sing and let it all out. Then we'd get a good night's sleep and be all ready for the next day. I think maybe song has a lot of power to begin with. I wish I could be like that. I wish I had some sort of special talent that I could use to help people. Oh, that reminds me. Once when I talked to Nadereh, she let me see her room, and it's, well, it was super cute. She has little pink Rappy dolls all over her bed and stuff. They're everywhere. I wonder where she got all that stuff. Maybe one of her attendants made them. Or maybe she did? Oops. She made me swear I wouldn't tell anyone about her room. Sorry, forget I said it. I was practicing singing. I try to do it where no one can hear me, but I guess you found me. I still need practice. It would be so much fun to sing with everyone. Hey, come over here for a minute. Take a look. The view is beautiful. Every part of Kavaris is so pretty. But when I think about how this view is the result of a fight with Dark Falls, I'm not sure how I should feel. Whew, we're at high altitude. It sure is cold up here. I don't think I could have made it up here without these clothes. Manon was talking about how she can deal with this cold by stimulating her internal photons or something. I'm not so sure about that. It's pretty cold. Oh, I got these from Crawford. Well, I guess it's more accurate to say my dad had them set aside for me. I guess my dad made a bunch of arrangements there in case anything ever happened to him. He generally was the type to just go with the flow, but I guess he did plan ahead sometimes. I feel like I'm just now starting to understand some things about him. I guess the fact that he set these clothes aside for me means that he predicted I would come here at some point. He never did teach me much about fighting, but now this makes me wonder if he was planning to get around to it someday. By the way, I notice you always wear whatever you like. Don't you ever get cold? Wow, is that a Meteoran thing too? It's so strange. Well, I think I'll look around this area a little bit more before I move on. See you later! My dad passed these on to me, I guess. Crawford told me that they were being stored at Central City for me. I see. Well, know your limits, I guess. Oh, hey! I didn't know you were here. Oh, I'm just about to head over to the lodge. I promised I'd visit Mary. Oh, we sure did. I've been stopping by to hang out ever since we rescued Ilma. For some reason, I felt like I knew Mary from the first moment we met her. I hardly knew any girls around my age until Manon showed up. Obviously, Mary and I were raised in totally different environments. And I figured out why when I saw her break up that argument between her brothers. People usually got along pretty well in Aleo Town for the most part, but when they would fight, they would get so tangled up in pride and status and saving face that they would never back down. So I would always try to go in and make peace. I guess Mary plays kind of a similar role with her brothers as the one I did. Or like how I was always there to make food for everyone when they would come home tired from fighting. It's nice when people enjoy your cooking, but it's hard when food runs out all the time. And how everyone was always asking me to cook this or that. When I talk to Mary about that kind of thing, she can totally relate. So we've been talking a lot lately because we have so much in common. Would you like to join us? You wouldn't be a bother. But I didn't tell Mary I'd be bringing you along, so maybe it's not such a good idea. Yeah, well, maybe next time. Oh, look at the time. I need to get going. See you later. Nope. We're just going to hang out and talk today. I see. Well, maybe next time.
You scared me. I didn't know you were here. I must have been so lost in thought I didn't detect your presence. I need to be more careful. I often come here when I need to be alone. The sound of the water helps me relax when things get to be too much. Of course. Everyone needs an occasional rest. I just wish I had done some things differently. I look back on certain things and wish I had done this or said that. I've done things that I wish I could take back. I know Aina thinks I'm such an amazing person, but all of my book learning is totally meaningless if I don't actually apply it. It's actually Aina who's the amazing one. She's gone through so much, but nothing ever seems to keep her down. A lot of people would simply shut down or let themselves be overcome by rage, but not her. I know she looks up to me so much as a role model. That's why I absolutely can't let her down. So I have to do my best to keep putting on a brave face, even if it's just in front of her. What am I doing? Why am I telling you all of this? I can't figure you out. You always act like you're not even paying attention. The truth is, you're actually taking everything in. I guess maybe that's why Aina feels so safe around you. Do me a favor? Please don't tell Aina about any of this. Maybe someday I'll be able to tell her myself, but that time isn't now. Promise me, okay? You scared me. I didn't know you were here. I must have been so lost in thought I didn't detect your presence. I need to be more careful. Well, if I said no, I wouldn't quite be telling the truth. What are you doing here? I visit once in a while. I still can't believe all of this happened here. From your perspective, I guess it happened right after you arrived on Halpha. Aleo Town was a really nice place. Everyone was so warm and kind. When I first arrived on Halpha, there was a problem with the door of my pod and I couldn't get out. If it wasn't for Aleo Town ARCs, I'd still be trapped in there even now. Everyone showed up to help out, and they eventually got the door open. It was exactly the same as when you arrived. Everyone was so welcoming to me. They all seemed overjoyed that a new friend had arrived. And they couldn't wait to teach me everything about this planet. They were all so strong, too. Mid-sized dolls units were no match for any of them. I watched Garoa go up against huge dolls units, 5 at a time by himself, and win. Just one swing of that huge axe, and I just can't believe this all happened. I'm sorry. I know it affected you too. I try so hard not to show weakness in front of anyone. But with you, I just... Can I be alone for a little while? I'll go back to Central City once I get it together. I see. So do I. You're right. I know. We have to keep fighting. I'm sorry. Please don't worry about me. I finally made it here. I'm sorry it took me so long. All my friends. Garoa. I've known about this place for a while. But when Aina called me while you two were building this, I just couldn't answer her call. I was too afraid to face reality. I have a feeling that I'm not really facing it even now. Not directly, anyway. Garoa used to always ask me to make sure I kept an eye on Aina. He probably didn't mean anything by it at the time. It was probably just because I was the closest to Aina in terms of age. I guess he just thought it would be nice for her to have a big sister. But now, that responsibility is a huge weight on my shoulders. I'm responsible for her now. I feel the weight of that. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Aina's gotten so good at fighting lately. Mentally and physically. She's doing so well working through her grief and moving forward. That's why I need to keep a positive attitude too. I have to grow up because I have to set a good example for her. And that's the reason I came here. I promise. Garoa, you and everyone. I swear to protect Aina, no matter what happens. That's the very least that I can do. For everyone. I guess that's how I look. If that's the case, it takes some of the weight off. I see. So, that's what this is. But wait, wouldn't it be, Huh, I see. Then, in that case... Oh, it's you. You startled me. This happened once before, didn't it? Enemies never sneak up on me like that. You must be working on your stealth techniques. Well, anyway... Yes, I'm looking into something about the Vanford laboratory. A personal interest. Apparently, it gets its name from Crawford's grandfather. Before it was destroyed during the invasion, he researched and developed a lot of technology for ARCs. So it was named after him because of his contributions. The technology he developed is still used to power Central City and fight the dolls to this day. Everything we see here was destroyed in the massive dolls invasion. Vanford didn't care about saving the facility. He fought on the front lines so his friends could evacuate. That's how he lost his life. What an amazing person. It's hard to believe that Alpha just swallows up such great people. This place is so... I have the feeling that what happened here is the reason that Crawford is so focused on defense rather than offense. He's afraid of losing everything again. But I think that's the right decision. He's the reason that the people of Central City can live peacefully without fear. I want to be a part of that. Good. I had a feeling you might say that. I hope you'll be right by my side. Oh, yes, I'm looking into something. Yes, you're right. I will. Oh, you're here too. I'm doing a little homework on enemies in Rezel Forest. I'm trying to learn more about how the dolls communicate. They all appear to operate autonomously and independently, but sometimes they seem to operate as part of some kind of collective consciousness. Did you know there are certain dolls units known as command dolls? Petus Vera, for example. As the name implies, command dolls give orders to other dolls units. They're the dolls' officers, basically. That next Alio that we encountered in this forest was an especially powerful one. According to the database, it's classified as a command unit. That time when Dozer had gone missing in action, it was sending orders all over Alio. Dolls units under its command all started marching on Central City at once. It was basically acting as a command tower. If we hadn't knocked it down, Central City would have been in trouble. I'm so glad we were able to put a stop to it. Of course, it's possible that we somehow just got lucky against all odds. Well, at least that's what it said on the report I got from Crawford. He's really done a lot of research on it. But the real issue is that... is this too much all at once for you? Alright, I guess That's enough for today's lesson. I'll let you know if I learn anything else. No, I'm just doing a little homework on enemies in Rezel Forest. The signal is... Theoretically, it should be like this. Oh, when did you get here? You surprised me again. You're pretty good at doing that. I'm trying to learn more about photon tuners. Of course, I got permission from the people of Retem first. What I really want to know about these tuners isn't so much how they work, but... I'm more interested in Nadereh's power of song that they broadcast. Her ability has something to do with the relationship between her internal and external photons. Which would mean that it's something pretty similar to a technique. But a technique with that kind of area of effect would require an incredible amount of photons. I don't see how anyone could pull that off all by themselves. So, I thought I might start by looking into these devices. But no luck, I guess. From what I've been able to gather so far, the tuner amps are not very powerful. So, what that means is that Nadereh herself is generating the vast majority of it. It's possible that she's tapping into some power even more basic than that used for techniques. I'm wondering if it might be what's known as magic. Sorry, never mind. I'm really just speculating. I still need to research more. But what we do know is that the power of song only passed down through her family line. And her power manifests differently than that of her ancestors. In fact, now I remember her saying that her feelings come through in her songs. For example, the feeling that she didn't want her people to get hurt was stronger than her feeling that she wanted them to fight harder. That had an effect on enemies and weakened them. No, I still need more data before I can even formulate a hypothesis. Regardless, it's impossible to totally quantify something like emotion. If it turns out that it's not possible to explain her power scientifically, then it has to be something supernatural. I was just collecting their data. Don't worry, I let Nadereh know about it ahead of time. That's a good idea, but I get the feeling that she may not understand it very well herself. Fancy seeing you here. Lysis dedicated his entire life to the revival of Kvaris. He spent every waking moment trudging through snow and ice to find out what happened. The rapid and violent change that took place in the environment during that war with Dark Falls. He left vast amounts of data in the Lodge study and the Lost Central terminals. At the Lost Central especially, in addition to files about the current state of the city, there were also plans for how to get it up and running again. To restore it to its former glory as the original Central City, and not just Lost Central. My guess is that Ilma and the others will carry the torch for Lysis now. But there's no telling how long it might take them. And one other thing. There was data regarding Central Cannon in Lysis's report too. Kvaris arcs also used the cannon to repel the Dark Falls invasion. The records indicate that nearly 100% of the output capacity and stability have been preserved. That incomplete file about the central cannon that was in the study, Ilma finding that is how this all got started. When he shared the report with Crawford to get his thoughts on it, he also started trying to see if he could research it himself. And in the process, he realized that there was still more data to be found in Lost Central. You know the rest of the story. Now that we have all of the data, we should be able to make progress towards restoring Central Cannon. Lysis really did put his heart and soul into building a better future for everyone. You're right. There are so many amazing people on Helva. Everyone is giving it their all. Not just for themselves, but for everyone. I've met so many amazing people while traveling with you two. They all have that in common, even if their circumstances might be different. How else can I help the people of Helva? That's what I'm working on figuring out. Yeah, we will. I had a feeling you might come. You always creep up on me at times like this. Let me guess. You're interested in that place too? Yeah. Lysis also mentioned this place in his report. The people of Kavaris gave Belagana Ruins its name. They refurbished the large ruins that were already here and turned them into a habitable place. Its population was on the order of Los Centrals. It was considered second only to the first central city. And then, 100 years ago, it turned back into ruins again. Kavaris' technical proficiency at the time was far superior to Aelio or Retem's. And they used to make vehicles that would be considered advanced, even by today's standards. They poured out all that ingenuity into their fight against the dolls. The weapons and manufacturing techniques they came up with made them quite formidable. But even with that, they couldn't withstand the dolls' onslaught. They ended up almost completely wiped out. The reason was that their Arcs defenders were subpar. They relied too much on their superior weaponry and didn't develop their fighting abilities. The foundation of every Arcs defender is photons. No matter how powerful the weapon, without ammo or energy, it's worthless. In the end, all you can really rely on is your own photons and your ability to wield them. The Kavaris Arcs defenders weren't able to do that, and so they lost. Or at least that was the gist of the information found in Lysis' data. I only got to see some of the documents, but from what I saw, he mentioned the war often. Not only was he passionate about his research, but he was an excellent Arcs defender. At a basic level, all Arcs defenders need to excel in both martial and scientific pursuits. On that point, it's pretty similar to how Retem's Arcs defenders think. Neither Aelio nor Retem have anything like the technology that Kavaris had at the time. But even if they did, they wouldn't have the capacity to produce it in mass. So they have to make do with the weaponry that they have. Which means that each Arcs defender has to actually know how to fight. There simply isn't any other choice. You knew that? Who did you hear it from?
Oh, it's you. Good timing. Can I talk to you for a moment? I still have a hard time believing this happened. Alio Town just gone, just like that. The town was responsible for defense all the way from South Alio to West Alio. It covered the area that's cut off from Central City by the mountains. But dolls often attack from the sea as well. Even now, it's hard to predict where they might attack from. It was a tall order for the people of Alio Town. But they were always more than up to the task. Thanks to their efforts, Central City didn't face any serious danger for a long time. As you might expect from people with such responsibility, they were pretty tough. But Garoa was a cut above the rest. Mind, body, and spirit in perfect balance, and all at a very high level. His instincts were honed by experience, and he knew how to execute on them. Alio Town and Central City would do practice drills together once in a while. It was all friendly, of course, but things could get pretty competitive. I used to get matched up against Garoa often. I never did manage to beat him, not even once. It's true, not a single time. He left us before I could settle the score. I'm not sure Arx will ever have another defender quite like him. He was a force of nature when he fought, but he was so easy to get along with otherwise. He was warm. Just being around him was enough to make all my little worries melt away. All the other townspeople were kind-hearted too. I can't allow them to have died in vain. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. I gave it my all every time. If anyone was going easy, it would have been him. What a coincidence, seeing you here. Oh, I was just passing by on patrol. And also, reminiscing a little bit. I'm a Meteorn too. Just like you, and Manon. This patch of coast here is where I landed. How could I forget? I was so disoriented when I got out of the pod that I was a sitting duck. Before I knew it, I was completely surrounded by enemies. I had a weapon in my hand that I knew how to use for some reason, but I was outnumbered. They slowly closed in on me. I remember thinking I was gonna die right there, and I had no idea who I even was. And then an Arx defender showed up. He cut through all of them like a hot knife through butter. I had never seen anything quite like it. It was Crawford. At the time, he wasn't the head of Central City yet. He was just an ordinary Arx defender. Apparently, he happened to see my pod make planetfall and came to see if I needed help. He carried me back to Central and patched me up good as new. And he welcomed me as a citizen of Central City. After that, he taught me how to get by on Alpha and how to fight. He sure was a stickler for the basics. That's right. I'll never be able to repay him. Crawford made me who I am today. I do what I do now is my way of paying him back. I need you to be in his corner too. He's charismatic, but the truth is that he doesn't have many people who understand him. I'd appreciate it. I see. I was on patrol and thought I'd stop by here. His curriculum was as detailed and meticulous as you might expect. And he's a pretty demanding teacher, too. I'm an absolute teddy bear compared to that guy. Hey, there you are. I just finished up a mission and was heading back. Standing here with you now takes me back to that day. You, Aina, and Manon's first mission. The three of you fought pretty well for being fresh out of basic training. I guess I'm the one who decided you were ready to get right in the action after seeing how well you did in the training. But I didn't think you'd be in battle so soon after that. In the end, though, I think Crawford made the right call. That you and Manon could do that right after landing on the planet shows how resilient you two are. I hope the two of you keep doing what you're doing. And Aina, too. She had just lost her father and sustained serious injury. From what I hear, she still didn't even know her way around her weapon yet. She displayed incredible fortitude and courage in that battle. But compared to you, Meteor, she's still a work in progress. With some more experience, I'm sure the sky is the limit for her. Attitude is what's most important. She seems like she's in such a hurry to prove herself. In a way, she's trying to put what happened at Alio Town to good use, without being consumed by anger. Using anger and hatred as motivation always warps a person's soul. As long as she keeps focusing on improving herself, she'll be fine. Slow and steady wins the race. I need you and Manon to keep an eye on her. You know, I think something is weighing on Manon, too. I need you to lead the two of them by example. Yeah, being here with you reminds me of that day. It's you again. What are you up to this time? Nice. Good for you. Daily patrols are the best way to keep everyone safe around here. I appreciate you being so, proactive, even when you're off duty. Hey, thanks for your help. I mean about that incident with Nexalio in this forest here. I think I was overconfident back then. Rezel is a pretty bewildering forest, but I'd been here so many times I figured I had it all mapped out. And I knew everything there was to know about the dolls here. Or so I thought. But everything was different that day. The dolls were more powerful, and they completely jammed my comms. And of course, Nexalio. Nothing could have prepared me for that. We would kill one enemy and two would take its place. And pretty soon we were surrounded. I was sure we would be wiped out. If the three of you hadn't shown up, I have no doubt that would have been the case. My relationship with Nexalio goes back 10 years. The same thing had happened 10 years prior. A sudden invasion by Nexalio and dolls. At the time, Central City's defenses still weren't completed. We somehow managed to repel them after a fierce battle, but both sides suffered heavy losses. I also took part in the fighting, but I was no match for them, and so I didn't contribute much. My inability to see the bigger picture cost the lives of a lot of friends. And so, all those memories and feelings came flooding back to me during the battle the other day. There's a lot I need to reflect upon. I wouldn't be the person I am now without you three. You helped me to settle the score with Nexalio. I owe you my gratitude. Thank you. I'll pay you back someday on the battlefield, I'm sure. You have my word. Well, I guess everyone needs a day off sometimes. Being under constant stress will break you down, physically and mentally. You have to make sure to keep some in the tank, for when it's important. Fancy seeing you here. Do you have a moment? I'd like to talk to you. Thank you. I'm training some rookie Arcs defenders. I've still got a little time to kill until they finish up running through Atrania. I'll get right to the point. Do you know what's going on with Manon lately? Manon is top-notch. Not only as a fighter, but as an engineer and a scientist as well. But she's got a dark side, and I'm a little bit worried that it might be steering her in the wrong direction. I'm not sure what the source of Manon's sadness is. If she doesn't want to volunteer the information, then it's not really my place to pry. However, you can't have any baggage like that in battle. Sometimes it can cause a person to make poor decisions. The problem with that is, it doesn't just affect you, but everyone around you too. I'm saying this based on my own personal experience. Aina is facing her past head on and trying to overcome it as quickly as possible. But Manon seems to be doing everything she can to stuff it all inside. That never works. She's going to explode someday. If Manon happens to ask for some help, I need you two to be there for her. The three of you are always together, so I'm sure you'd notice subtle changes in behavior. A team is about more than being a force multiplier. A real team is one with true bonds between its members. I want you to keep that in mind. Hope I didn't sound like I was lecturing you. Well, those rookies should be getting back from the trainio right about now. Sorry to ambush you with a talk like that. Thanks for listening. Keep an eye on Manon, would you? You might have picked up on it by now, but Manon's got a dark side. She's a top-notch arcs defender, but I'm worried that it might be steering her in the wrong direction. It's you. I haven't seen you in Retem since the battle with Renus. Hadi and the others wanted to get my advice and called me here. But I'm done with that now, and I'm just taking a little breather. Hadi and I have known each other a long time. I remember that day long ago. Our squad was on an expedition to Retem, and we came under a massive Dozer attack. That's when I met Hadi for the first time. Our guys were hurting pretty bad, but Hadi's squad was even worse off. Hadi is a brave and capable arcs defender, but that day, he'd spread himself a little thin protecting his comrades. And then the dolls attacked him from all sides. I lent a hand and helped get him out of a bad scrape. And we've been good friends and comrades in arms ever since. I guess we just understand each other. We're both castes and we're both loyal supporters of our leaders. When the war was going really bad in Retem, and none of us could even get away to go help, we lost touch for a while. But now we're close again, just like old times. And it's entirely thanks to you three again. I'm truly grateful. No, nothing to worry about. Just a little periodic check-in with Hadi. We could have talked over comms, but sometimes it's nice to get together in person. Anyway, that's over. And now, I'm just taking a little breather.
Ah, there you are. I really appreciate all the hard work you do for us every day. Nonsense. Your contributions have been invaluable. I was, just looking at your activity reports, actually. This is the report for Manon. Excellent records, meticulous and detailed. Yes, she updates me periodically. Her reports are full of astute insights. They're great. They've been very informative. Ran and the other operators take care of organizing all of this report data for me. I don't have to lift a finger. I just sit back, have some tea, and wait for the data to come to me. Meanwhile, out in the field, Dozer expertly leads the command in the fight against the dolls. Ran and the others have gotten great at coordinating all the communications, too. Compared to the old days, my job has gotten much easier. And now, I have you three helping as well. At this rate, pretty soon, my only responsibility will be to sit and keep my chair warm. Of course, there's no guarantee that these easy conditions will continue indefinitely. It only takes a single card to fall for the whole house to come tumbling down. That's why I have to make sure to plan every aspect carefully to keep the structure intact. Of course, a strong foundation in the first place is important. Trust me, as the leader of Central City, I intend to carry out these duties to the best of my abilities. Now I have this nagging feeling that Ran asked me to do something. I'd better get back to work. Oh, one more thing. Would you mind stopping by again sometime? I love getting updates from you. Until next time, then. Nonsense. I couldn't do what I do without all of your help. If you could, whenever you have a chance. Aina has sent me several reports as well. It's clear she put a lot of thought and effort into them. Ah, what perfect timing. We just got the data together from the Retem region survey. I don't know if it'll help you in your battles or not, but would you like to take a look? Wonderful. Let's go over it then. First, let's look at Retem's environment. As you can see, Retem is a region covered in sand. The temperature varies wildly between night and day, and it almost never rains. It would seem to be quite a harsh environment for any living creature. And yet a multitude of creatures live there nevertheless, perfectly adapted to their surroundings. We plan to do further research on the life forms there, including all local enemies. However, the environments of two regions connected by border bridges are astonishingly different from one another. We'd like to assign researchers to look into that, but for now, we must prioritize research that can help us in battle. Speaking of astonishing, Sagan Mountain Road, just inside the Retem region, is another strange area. There are electromagnetic and gravitational anomalies there. You'll even find things like huge boulders floating in midair. We think cylindrical structures called degrevs cause the anomalies, but there's still much to learn about them. But let's save that topic for another day. Now, I'll give you an overview of the residents of Retem. Retem is a region plagued by harsh environmental conditions and constantly under the threat of Dolls attacks. That Nexalio battle the other day posed a major threat to us. However, such threats are commonplace for the people of Retem. They've lost many lives trying to keep their town safe. It's not a surprise that there are people who value strength above all else. It seems to be a basic tenet of theirs that the strong should protect and guide the weak. The circumstances of both Aleo and Retem have always prevented us from interacting with each other much. The cultural differences are also a barrier to mutual understanding. But if you can exhibit strength to them, in spite of all this, I'm sure they'll accept you. I'd like you to reach out to the Retem Ark's defenders and earn their trust. Well, I guess that's enough of an introduction to Retem, for now. All that's left is for you to go and experience it for yourself. I can't wait to hear about it. Now, let's take a quick look. Ah, it's you. I'm just going over some central canon data here. Well, since you're here, why don't I explain more about this weapon? We call it central cannon, but officially, it's apparently a single-mounted photon particle cannon. I say apparently, because it's part of the old lost technology. Who built it, when, and why, still remains a total mystery to us. We use it as a communications tower, and it's an integral part of Central City life. It even extends to underground spaces like this one, almost like the nucleus of the city. When it was first discovered, it wasn't working. My grandfather, Vanford, was the one who began repairing it. Actually, it's probably more accurate to say it was incomplete, rather than not working. At first, quite a few of its parts were missing entirely. It's taken quite a lot of time to understand its structure and build the missing parts. We couldn't get it operational during my grandfather's or my father's time. So of course, the task now falls to me, and, well, let's say it hasn't been easy. We finally got it to the point where we can fire it, but there's still room for improvement. We're especially having difficulty with the durability of the parts we developed. Actually, we even tried a test fire once, a long time ago. Have you noticed that mountain you can see from Central Tower, beyond the shopping plaza? Yes, that semicircular bite taken out of the mountain is a result of that test shot. We meant to fire at the lowest setting, but we accidentally fired at the highest output the cannon had at the time. The barrel was damaged and part of the control unit was broken. The incident showed our design's imperfections. I must say, that failure is not my proudest memory. But it did represent progress in the project, so my feelings about it are mixed. In any case, that failure allowed us to finally bring the cannon to a working stage. But unfortunately, we don't have time to iron out all the kinks. I'm going to need a lot of help to get the remaining repairs done. Your contributions will be invaluable. I'll be counting on your help once again. Ah, it's you. Yes, I'm just going over some central canon data. Exactly. The test shot made the hole you see in it today. Ah, glad to see you. I was just wrapping up a few central canon details. Thanks to the data Ilma sent, I've been able to ferret out all manner of technical problems. And it's all thanks to the three of you. My sincerest thanks. You're right. I heard that you three and the 5 siblings worked to put it all together. How I met Ilma is kind of a funny story. One day, I saw that some anonymous comments had been made on data I'd uploaded to the library. The comments described errors in my work in meticulous detail. Incredulous, I re-examined my data, and sure enough, the commenter was right. Wondering who I was dealing with, I looked up the address. It had come from Kavaris. That immediately made me think of one person, of course. But I knew that Lysis, whom I had been in communications with before, had passed away. I contacted the lodge, and it was Ilma who answered. He told me that his mechanical skills were entirely self-taught. His free-spirited approach to problems was refreshing to me. I've been asking his advice on a variety of problems ever since, including, of course, central canon. He's been working his way through the vast collection of research Lysis left behind. His ingenuity, combined with that logical mind, makes him second to none. I'd better work hard to keep up with him. Well, I suppose I should get back to working on Central Cannon now. I have to make sure it's ready when we need it, right? That's true. He often understands things in ways I hadn't thought of. He certainly is a fine engineer.
Oh! We hardly ever see each other outside the command room. Oh, just taking a little walk. The mission I was coordinating just ended. Crawford is always telling me I need to slow down and take a break once in a while. But it's actually Crawford who never seems to take any breaks. Not only does he handle Battle Command, but he also manages Central City's administration. He even takes the time to meet with ARC's defenders individually. I wonder when in the world he ever sleeps, and yet he never looks the slightest bit tired. Yes, he's a leader we can all count on. But at first glance, he looks more like an ineffectual type. You know, back when I was first starting out as an operator, I was always super nervous. I'm responsible for people's lives, so I was absolutely terrified of making a mistake. But one time, Crawford came over to me with a kind smile and said, "If you ever feel like you're going to mess up, remember that you can count on my support anytime. And all the other operators are always here for you too. So, there's nothing to be afraid of." After that, I started to feel better. I even started initiating conversations with Rosa and the others. Crawford said what I needed to hear, just when I needed to hear it. I'll never forget it. Well, I guess I'd better get back. Oh, and all those things I just said, please don't tell him. Well, good luck on your assignments. And the next time you come to the command room, please be sure to tell Crawford not to work so hard. Take care! No, just the opposite actually. I just finished an operator assignment. Yes, I hear he has quite a few fans. That kind of attention makes him uncomfortable, though. It's hard to get a good feel for what it's like from so far away like this. Oh, good to see you again. No, I'm still technically working. I'm just taking a little break. I came outside for a breath of fresh air. Oh, by the way, I was just organizing the survey reports from the Kavaris region. Would you like to hear about them? Great, let's go over them. Currently, Kavaris is a frozen region, completely covered in snow. But records show that it once had a more temperate climate and was lush with vegetation. Not unlike the way Aelio is now, I imagine. Back then, it was home to many people, and it was even more flourishing than Aelio or Ratem is today. But then there was the Dark Falls attack, and Kavaris became almost uninhabited overnight. Well, overnight might be a slight exaggeration, but there's no doubt the environment there changed drastically in a very short amount of time. The data on that period is missing from the records, so the reason remains a mystery. Although they managed to defeat Dark Falls, the people of Kavaris were still forced to relocate. Many of them fled to Aelio and began building this central city. And they say some of them went to the Ratem region too. Kavaris had been all but uninhabited ever since. The advance team this time is part of the largest extended operation in the region so far. For such a long time, defending their own regions was all Aelio and Retem could do. But now that we have your help, we've finally been able to make inroads into Kavaris. We really appreciate all that you're doing for us. I'm sure the advanced team knows much more than I do about the latest conditions in Kavaris. Ask them anything. If I weren't so busy with my operator work, I would have liked to try out for the advanced team myself. I'd love to hear about what it's like there when you get back if you have time. I'll be waiting. Oh, I just came outside for a breath of fresh air. It can get pretty stuffy in the command room after a while. Oh, just in time. I'm thinking about putting together a report on the Stia region. See it? It's right over there. Would you mind if I run some of it by you first? All right. Here goes, then. It's a colossal volcanic island located on the other side of Halfiat Lake. We have an advanced team exploring it now, just like Kavaris. Although it's been several years since they first started out, they still haven't been able to make much progress. There are 3 things in their way. First of all, the interior terrain is really rough. Second, many incredibly powerful dolls have been detected in the area. And third, communications between the advanced team and Central City are not going well. The interior of Stia is like a multi-story structure, and the team has seen energy plants in there. They think that dolls production may be going on somewhere in there. Yes. We're waiting on a report from the advanced team for more details, but communication is slow. The team wants to recon the doll's production site, and even destroy it if at all possible. But Crawford won't authorize the advanced team to do that yet. He's saying he thinks it's still too soon. We do need to strengthen the defenses of each region, but we also can't just leave those dolls in Stia to wreak havoc. Both arguments seem equally valid, but we just haven't had the numbers to manage both at the same time. The team in Stia keeps insisting something truly nefarious is going on, but they've been unable to act on it. Those restraints may be released fairly soon. We've been building up cooperation with Retemarks and finally managed to make inroads in Kavaris. The repair of Central Cannon is coming along at a rapid pace, too. And it's all thanks to your help. We have no choice but to start putting more resources into the situation in Stia now. I imagine we'll have difficult battles ahead of us, so we'd better be well prepared. We want to do all we can to help, in whatever way we can. Well, I'll let you know if there are any new developments. It's a colossal volcanic island located on the other side of Halfiat Lake. Well, we're waiting on a report from the advanced team for more details, but communication is slow.
You, is it? I thought I'd rid the place of enemies while enjoying a stroll. Perfect timing. There is something I require your help with. I would like to ask you about the relationship we will be building between Retem and Aelio. Now that we will be cooperating, it would be proper for us to learn more about each other. I am not very familiar with the ways of Aelio, however. Other than military affairs, I know little of its culture and customs. As we are personally acquainted, I thought I could practice some cultural exchange with you. Come now, don't worry. Nothing more difficult than some simple conversation, just as we are doing now. What do you think? I am most grateful. With Manon, I have had some exchanges about technological matters and the like. But I have not had much opportunity to speak with Aina. How should I phrase this? There are not many in Retem with a temperament such as hers. I find myself at a loss as to how to start a conversation. How do you usually interact with her? What are her interests, for example? My singing? I suppose I could talk about that. I see. This has been useful. My thanks. Do you have a moment now? I'd like to know more about you as well. Let me see. What shall I ask? The enemies here are no match for me. Is that so? Very good then. Special talents? I suppose for me it would be combat, or no, singing. That's not it. I cannot seem to master it. Who is that there? You, is it? You are quite skilled at making yourself invisible. Impressive. Merely my daily training. This is a perfect location for it. Wouldn't you agree? It is my dance lesson. I say lesson, but I no longer have a teacher. My family's gift is the power of song. But that power is not derived from singing alone. Only when song and dance combine as one does the true power manifest. That is what my mother always taught me. Singing aside, dance has always been a weak point of mine. Oh, how my mother used to scold me during my lessons. When I stopped singing in front of others, I stopped dancing as well. Now that I am singing publicly again, however, I can no longer neglect my dancing. And so I make the time to train myself daily in the art of dance. But having said that, however, I still find it difficult to be watched. If my dancing skills were a little more polished, I could perform for you and ask for your feedback. Or perhaps you could dance with me. I was only teasing. Before I can reveal my song and dance, I need to be certain that I've mastered them first. When that time comes, I want you to be there. Goodbye now. Oh, and no more peeping from behind boulders. Practicing? Yes, well, I suppose you could call it that. Yes, that does sound interesting. But let's save that for another time. It's you. I was hoping I might talk to you, if it's not an imposition. It was an arduous battle. Of course, it's not over yet, but at the very least, we've reached a major milestone. In this seemingly endless battle against Renus Retem, so many have given their lives in this struggle. If we had continued to fight on, alone, without accepting your help, I have no doubt we would have been defeated. The people of Retem have long relied on their own strength alone to solve their problems. We asked for help from no one. We were proudly self-sufficient. It was always thought that that was best. In this land covered in sand, and surrounded by mountains, cut off from the outside world, our perspective became limited as well. When the three of you arrived here, many of our people viewed you with little but skepticism. Some even suggested that joining together with you in battle would dishonor us. In truth, it was because of these opinions of my people that I refused your offer at first. When I look back on it, such pride was foolish. You helped us realize the error of our thinking. You came to this faraway land and proved that your methods are effective. Seeing this, Jalil and Mohsen had a change of heart. And in truth, so did I. Allow me to offer you my gratitude once again. I cannot thank you enough for rescuing Retem from this danger. There is truth in that. Every single time I come here, I always feel such a deep sense of shame. That feeling has not changed. But at least now I can tell them that they are finally victorious. The struggles of our predecessors have made us what we are today. And in the end, victory is ours. I can tell them that their deaths were not in vain. And the emotions I feel when I sing have begun to transform as well. By the way, there is something I have been meaning to ask you. How did it come to be that Manon knew the Song of Mourning? I see. I wanted to ask her about it. The song has such significance. I was wondering if there was some reason she knew it. Well, we've chatted at length. That's enough for now, I think. Why don't we pay our respects together? Yes, that is true. I deeply regret that I failed to understand my own power. It is true that it has been passed down in my family for generations. It is also well known amongst my people. Perhaps it is not unreasonable that she may have heard it somewhere.
Greetings. What do you say? Would you like to hear an old story of mine? Good. I've never really liked this place. This Al-Nodha. It brings back memories of that day, you see. I remember well that day that Nadereh sang in front of everyone. The entire audience fell silent as the color drained from Nadereh's face. In a panic, I cleared the venue, but Nadereh just stood there in silence, her shoulders trembling. Never once before or since have I seen her like that. Everyone had simply assumed that she had the power of song. It had always been passed down from parent to child. It's a power not to be displayed without proper decorum. Especially not when the wielder was young, before it had been fully mastered. When Nadereh was very young, she would only ever sing in front of her mother, Aldelia. Back then, Aldelia once spoke with me in regards to Nadereh's power. She said that one day, Nadereh's abilities would surpass her own. Now that Aldelia is gone, I can no longer ask her what she meant by that. But what I think Aldelia sensed was not Nadereh's power of song, exactly, but I think she was just confusing her own power with Nadereh's, as it resonated with Nadereh's singing abilities. In any case, from that day forward, until you people came along, no one truly understood Nadereh's power. Of course, I've already told you the story of how Nadereh behaved after that. She threw herself into studying the art of war, as if to make up for what she lacked. In an attempt to support her, we also threw ourselves into the pursuit of raw strength. Once Nadereh stopped singing, the musical culture of Ritem sadly began to die out. Day after day, all we did was fight enemies and fall down exhausted at night, and then wake up and do it all again. At the rate we were going, Ritem arcs would inevitably burn out. But just as I was beginning to become seriously worried, you arrived in Ritem so gallantly. These folks will bring about a change for us. Looking back, it seems strange I was so convinced without any evidence. But when I saw you fight, that's what I thought. Of course, you know better than anyone what happened after that. Nadereh's true power manifested itself, and Renis Ritem was finally suppressed. And then music returned to Ritem. Thank you again for everything you've done. Thank you. You should tell everyone that. They'll be glad to hear it. And now, thanks to all of you, it isn't painful for me to come to this place anymore. We are in your debt. And now it's our turn to try and repay you. If you ever need anything, please do not hesitate. Now, don't be that way. Exactly. And Ritem arcs can't do without either one. It took many, many years for all of us to realize it. Ah, it's you. Standing here with you like this, it makes me remember that day. I mean the day that I first met you folks. This is the one and only trade route between Ritem and Aelio. I've met all kinds of people here. This is also where I first ran into Dozer as well. I remember it clearly. Back then, just like today, there was a large incursion of dolls in the area. We had people out here on patrol each and every day. And then, one day, my squad and I were here scouting around, and we came under sudden attack. We were heavily outnumbered, and little by little, the enemy closed in on us. I put my guys behind me and tried to protect them to the best of my ability. Before I knew it, I fought my way through countless enemies and found myself at the edge of the fight. And that's when I noticed. In addition to me and my squad, there were others here fighting the dolls as well. It was Dozer and his squad. At the time, his attention was entirely on the enemy directly in front of him. He apparently hadn't noticed that another dolls unit was sneaking up behind him. So, I instantly mowed that enemy down and got Dozer out of a bad scrape. And, well, we've been good friends and comrades in arms ever since. What's that? Dozer told you some kind of different story? Well, he was in quite a panic at the time. He may not remember it correctly. There was a period when the fighting was so intense that we lost touch for a while. But as of late, there have been more opportunities to talk to him and the others from Alio again. We used to discuss military matters exclusively, but now we talk about everyday topics too. And you know, it's all thanks to you three. I'm truly grateful. Tell Dozer? Why would I? But perhaps you're right. It would be pleasant to talk over old times. Greetings. The Alio people have asked me to investigate the lower level of Maquad, so here I am. I was enjoying the breeze and collecting my thoughts. As you of course already know, there's a broad open space at the bottom of this pit. And that space is filled with rows of large buildings. Old documents have these various structures labeled as energy plants. In other words, structures that house devices capable of producing energy. Until now, Retem couldn't spare any manpower to learn more than that about Maquad. As far as we were concerned, the place was always little more than the lair of Renus Retem. But now, as it turns out, we have a little more time on our hands. So Alio asked that someone come and examine the place further. I've always been curious about it, so naturally I volunteered. Lately, Alio has been sending a survey team of its own to conduct all kinds of investigations. They even allowed me to help with things I've never even done before. It's been slow going, but I am learning more and more about the plants. For example, did you know that some of those facilities are still operating? And apparently the energy produced at those plants even helps supply Retem City. The plants require no maintenance whatsoever. They simply keep operating forever on their own. I could never even imagine such feats of engineering. But to think that our lives were being powered by energy created in the enemy's stronghold. Truth really is stranger than fiction. I learned something else, too. Some traces of something having to do with the dolls were found in the Maquad facilities. I do not yet know the details. All I know is that the Alio survey team found something that's connected to the dolls in some of the facilities. We had always made the assumption that the dolls simply found that big pit and decided to inhabit it. But if there is a deeper relationship between the dolls and those buildings, then something is definitely fishy. At this point, all we can do is speculate. I will be sure to let you know if I'm able to learn anything further. It's kind of nice, actually. Finding something else that could pique my interest as much as combat or music does. In a better world, perhaps I might have been a research scientist. One never truly knows down which path fate will lead him. Well, the Alio people asked me to do a favor for them. They've requested that I investigate the lower level of Maquad here. Their investigation is still ongoing. All I've heard is that body tissue consistent with dolls' units was found in some of the facilities.